Living in a daydream. Ooh, such a sweet thing. Life on a big screen. It's such a beautiful scene, yeah.
You guys,
Welcome
welcome to the kitchen. That was beautiful, Nathan.
Thank you. Hey.
Guys, we are so excited to have our best friend, Emma K. Films,
Thanks.
with us today here in Salt Lake. Welcome to Salt Lake.
Thank you both
Nice and cold.
so much for having me.
A little cold today.
It's a little
A
chilly.
little different from LA.
I flew in at like 7 a.m. and I got off the plane and I was like, yeah, it's really cold here.
Yeah, it's really
Had your
cool.
big
I
North
can
Face
see my
jacket.
breath. Yeah, literally.
It's bitter
I'm
today.
bundled.
Yeah.
Honestly, but no, thanks for having me.
No, yeah, we wanted these in-person things, so just so glad that you're here. You guys, Emma is someone who needs no introduction. She is someone we look up to, someone we aspire to be like, someone we really respect in terms of what she's accomplished in such a short amount of time for being as young as she is. So every time Nate and I want to talk about our clientele and our business goals, we always refer to Emma first. It's
We
like,
do.
hey, what's Emma doing? And we're trying to keep up with her. So I'm really honored to have you here, and we will do our best to not get you canceled or do anything that's going to hurt your amazing brand that you've crafted.
Thank you.
Though, no promises. You guys know
yeah,
me.
for someone who like has spent every single like minute crafting your brand, it's incredible that you even came here in the first place.
Thank
Because
you.
if you look at our page, there's some weird takes about the podcast.
No, 4 years of hard work could go down in an hour here.
Just like that, just snap of the fingers.
I will say there was like that teeny little part of me that I was like, should I just like make
Hurtful.
sure that
Hurtful.
like we're
Hurtful for sure.
I'm busy that day, guys.
Yeah, hurtful. So Emma, a couple things. We really just want to get to know you on a deeper level. I mean, we know you really well. We've done a lot of events together. We've worked
Yeah.
weddings together. Have a lot of fun plans next year together.
Yeah.
Doing more weddings, more events. We want to kind of help our audience learn about you on a whole different perspective, because there's more to Emma Burke than Emma K
Yeah.
Films. But with that being said, we love to talk about current events, current topics, current things that are happening in everyone's life. And for you just made, I guess a year and a half ago, made a massive change, moving
Yeah.
from one of the smallest towns in Oregon to one of the biggest cities in America, if not the world, LA. So I would love to hear from you what that change is like, what
Yeah.
sparked that change. You can be as personal as you want, and kind of what the dominoes have been a year and a half later from that change. 'Cause I think a lot of us, a lot of our audience too, is like in that same boat of like, okay, I have this hobby, I like to make videos, I want
Yeah.
to make it into a career, I want to own my own schedule, build this business. But taking that big step into becoming, really committing to your dreams and your goals is something
Yeah.
that you went full force into. So
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about that, and maybe also some background on how small of a town you're really coming from for perspective.
Yeah.
Comparing it to freaking LA.
So do you want to start at like birth or?
Yeah, talk about birth. Talk about, we know your
birth.
dad's a governor or a mayor, excuse me.
Governor.
A mayor, Mayor Burke of Oregon.
Papa B.
Small town governor or mayor.
Teeny tiny town. We can start there. We can
Okay,
start
start
there.
there.
We can
But
start
runs
there.
it with an iron fist.
Yeah.
Ironclad.
Okay. Let me clarify a few things.
Yeah.
No, so I grew up in a really, really tiny town.
What's the
It
town?
was a town called Elkton, Oregon. I grew up in Oregon, so I just moved to LA like a year and a half ago. And this town has 200 people in its town.
Crazy.
My high school graduating class had 17 kids, 5 of which I went to preschool with. So I grew up in the country. I mean, there was like a river in our town, and I mean, like I would look out my classroom window. There's a river. There's a football field. Everyone's playing sports. We're going to bonfires. We're getting off school, going swimming at the river. Lot of hunting, fishing. I'm not a hunter personally, but there's like a lot of like my family and friend group and all of them like hunt and fish, and so definitely a different lifestyle than like where I currently reside today.
I'd say so.
A little bit different.
Where
Yep.
everything's gluten free.
Yep. So I grew up in this really, really tiny town, and I lived there for 18 years, obviously, and then I graduated high school and went to Oregon State. I originally was going to Oregon State for pharmacy. I grew up and wanted to become a pharmacist in high school, and I really just like poured all my time and energy there. I've always been kind of like that, like go-getter mindset, but I definitely was like, oh, I have to, work a 9 to 5. I need to like probably get one of like the best careers I can out there. And like, that's just like what I need to do. And so I had like graduated high school with my associate's degree and was going into my third year at Oregon State when I was 19, and I was in pre-pharm. And then I ended up switching out of pharmacy for like personal reasons. Cause like, not to get into politics, but like, I definitely believe that our society has become very like drug management as opposed to drug prevention.
Who did you vote for?
Not getting into any of the politics.
That leads us into our real segue.
All right. So I'm joking. Okay, go on.
And this is where I get canceled. No, not to get into any of that, but
Tell me
truly,
what you thought it was.
like that, like I just had like some personal views that really weren't aligning with like that role.
Sure.
And like I will say, like I have so much respect for pharmacists, like truly. But I just realized it wasn't the right fit for me. And so I ended up changing over to an accounting major. And that's what I got my bachelor's in. Got my bachelor's in accounting. And I actually was already I had done internships during college, like in an accounting firm, because again, like I literally was trained that like, that is what you do. Like you just go work the 9 to 5. Like none of my family, none of my friend group, none of them were entrepreneurs. So like I was never grew up.
Wow.
Like I look back at it now and like,
It's kind of crazy.
it's really crazy because when I was a kid, I was totally the kid that like recorded on my GoPro all the time. I made like music videos. I have so many skits on like my dad's computer. Like they're terrible. They're so cringe.
Will we ever see one of these music videos?
I would show you.
Link below.
They're so
Link in the show
I have a
notes.
crazy one of
They
myself.
are
I think we've all
Bleeding
so
Love was one of mine.
embarrassing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone can relate, but like I was the like girl in middle school that like wore the flowers in my hair and like wore like the like spiky Claire earrings, and I wore like the gauchos and like the Bobby Jack
I don't know
t-shirt.
what a gaucho is.
I don't know.
Remember-
The gaucho. What was this?
Gauchos are like
Leg
okay,
warmers?
honestly, they're kind of like this, but they were like yoga pants.
Bell bottoms.
Like flare?
You know,
gauchos. Yeah,
gauchos,
my sister
yeah.
wore those.
Yes.
Gaucho. Big gaucho girl.
I still can't
You're
picture
not
gaucho.
following?
They're like yoga
Like
pants,
flared-
and
flared-
then the top
Yes.
is like
Leggings.
leopard
Yes.
print.
Yeah, I could be. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I
That could
think-
totally.
I
They could
think-
totally have leopard
I
print.
think I think I know what you're talking about. here.
Honestly, they're equivalent to the pants that I'm wearing.
It's what I'm wearing right now.
But like
Longer?
stretchy yoga pants, like
Okay.
like they were very like chill, and so I wear like that. I wear like Bobby Jack, like
Okay.
what was it, Lisa Frank, No, like
These are words in.
Are
one
you
ear and
kidding
I
me?
have
Foreign
no
language.
idea.
no, like
We
Lisa
weren't-
Frank was like
What is Lisa Frank?
Like
We're not
the, like-
sons of mayors. We don't come from.
Yeah,
it was a brand that was like the brand that was like all the
Couldn't afford it.
is this local in Moncton?
no, look it up on your phone.
What is it? What is it called?
Lisa Frank. I know that
Lisa?
everyone is listening
Well,
to
I'm
this.
sure everyone knows. We really only know our high school was.
Lisa or Lisa?
Liza, Liza.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's
My
Z.
high school was Hollister and Abercrombie. and Fitch.
No.
Yeah, I was like,
That's
I
all it
was
was.
definitely like Hollister,
American
Abercrombie
Eagle.
and Fitch. Yeah.
Those are
Before the
only three
rebrand,
brands I know.
Abercrombie and Fitch before the rebrand too.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you look it
I
up?
think the CEO just got canceled again. Did you see that?
Oh yeah.
Of
For
Again?
selling
Like
kids.
like
Yeah, like he's in on trafficking.
yeah.
Crazy.
Hey, isn't everyone?
This
Not justified.
is that Lisa Frank?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but I want you to like look on Google. Look at Google Images. Yes, you guys don't remember that? Are
I
you
do
serious?
remember that. Yep. My sister
Yes.
was in that. Yep.
Yeah, we don't even need to show them because everyone that's listening to this knows who Lisa Frank is. But anyways,
Not our artist. I promise.
You'd be surprised.
Adam Grumbo. Not a clue.
Okay, so you wore Lisa Frank.
okay,
Okay.
Big Lisa Frank girl.
Really getting
Gouchy
to know.
girl.
I don't even know
Where
where.
were we going with this question?
Just like Small
Small
who
town.
she was in middle school. Like
Accounting.
Why was
when-
I
Oh, you're okay.
When-
You were,
when did it start?
and that concludes today's episode. Hope we got to know Emma on a better level.
Like what?
I remember because I was just saying that like when I was a kid, I made a lot of those music videos and skits.
So
at
looking
that
back now,
age.
you
Oh,
see
yeah,
why
your
there were
GoPro.
signs.
Okay,
there were
your
always
GoPro.
signs.
Yes.
You were filming stuff. Okay.
Music videos.
Yes,
Yeah,
Part
yeah,
of the
yeah,
upbringing.
yeah.
We're transitioning into the filmmaker
Right,
talk
we're
here.
getting there. We're getting there.
Gotcha. Same
Had to
we
pass
really
through
started
Lisa
at
Frank.
birth here.
Okay.
No, but I like looking back, I realized that I was a creative, but I never considered myself a creative ever.
Well, it's hard when you're not in that family either.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what's out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
And so
I was about to ask, if nobody in your family was a creative or an entrepreneur, like where do you think you got that from? Because you're an only sibling, only child. So like, where do you think did you have friends who were also doing this? Like,
I mean, honestly,
Is there any-
when I was in college and I changed out of pharmacy, it was definitely a really rough transition because a lot of people were like, you know, I mean, especially coming from a small town, everyone's just like, oh, well, she's just throwing her career away kind of thing. And like I had so much support from my family. They were like the most loving people on the planet and a lot of support. Like I'm not like bagging on anyone. No one even knows my small town anyway. But, you know, it's just like, it's a big change.
Yeah.
Giving up a career that was like definitely going to sustain your future for what?
And
so
unimaginable too to these people.
Yeah, right. And I think like
Can't
that's the
even
biggest
fathom
thing.
being an event videographer.
Yeah. So when I had changed over to accounting, because my brain was instantly like, no, you still have to get the bachelor's. I hadn't thought
Gotcha.
about entrepreneurship yet either.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was just like, I need to transition to something that I'll get a full-time degree in.
Traditional, yep.
So I went towards accounting, did internships, and I honestly, like, I remember, like, I just was really, I needed a hobby. Like, I'm such a busybody. I needed something to do. I was just in like a little college modeling group, and that photographer I had gotten close with, she was super sweet at the time. And so I like, I'm trying to like dig in because I never really thought about it, but like I definitely looked at that and was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so I like just was shopping and I was like, oh, I need a hobby. And I like went and bought a camera and a drone, which is like a very risky and like wouldn't recommend that type of risk to anybody. But it was also the greatest decision of my life.
Yeah.
So I think after
Starting
that, I
stone.
had then taken just like more like a marketing class, an entrepreneurship class, like while I'm getting the degree in accounting, which is what I ended up graduating with. But I think like just like those avenues, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then when I had a friend who was like, oh, I'm getting married, I was like, oh, great, let me film it. And then I was like, this is really awesome. And so I think just having the business knowledge was like, wait, I could do it. But yeah, I mean, like I mean, unless I'm like literally like going crazy, like I didn't have anyone in my corner that was like all entrepreneurs. What?
So funny.
I don't know. It's just the lead up to that.
Unless
the revelation.
I'm literally going
Unless I'm going crazy, guys.
Well, you know,
I
sometimes
think it was
you
just-
Yeah,
blank
because
out.
because my dad, he's an entrepreneur. He got his degree, I think, in youth education, but then he immediately went into public speaking and became a public speaker, and he's sustained our family for 30 years, doing that full time. And so for me, it wasn't like a far reach.
Yeah.
To say I want to work for myself and be home when I want to be home and work when I want to work.
Right. Because you'd
And
seen
when I
it.
told my dad I was quitting my jobs and doing that, he's like, "Well, I never used my degree, so he's like, yeah, fully support you." Whereas my wife's family, it was a little bit harder of a sell. I mean, they were also very supportive.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you don't know, you don't get it. And also, when I quit my jobs and did this, I was making horrible videos, and they're like, "You want to provide making slideshows?" But you just don't know what you don't know until you start to like explore that world. And I think the eye opening for me, I don't know what it was for you, but when I got paid that first time, I was like, oh, I can do something for money and I can scale this.
What's up, chefs? We hope you are enjoying this show. We had a ton of fun talking with Emma, and we're going to get back to her in just a second. But first, we need to tell you about MusicBed. MusicBed is something we've been collectively using for nearly a decade, and we have never thought about switching. And if you've been following us, you know that is saying something because we're always trying out the newest tools and gadgets. But when it comes to our music licensing, MusicBed is truly in a league of its own. Their library is packed with authentic, high-quality tracks made by real artists who understand the art of storytelling. And finding the right song is quick, seamless, and now easier than ever thanks to their new AI-powered search engine. We're talking about finding the perfect song in minutes, not days or even hours. It makes every track feel like it was specifically made for your current project. So if you're ready to level up your films with music that truly fit the vibe of your brand, head over to the link in our bio and you'll get a 14-day free trial of MusicBed. Trust us, this is a platform you are going to keep coming back to. And now, back to the show.
I remember being like $400 for my first wedding. That was crazy. Like a college kid, I was like, $400, like I can go out a lot on this money.
And how many years ago was this? What year was that?
This was 2019.
Okay, so just
That
5
was
years ago.
2019.
Yeah.
You're
And you
getting
made
paid
$400 for a wedding video.
Yeah.
In 6 years, you've literally won
5 years.
5 years, literally 100x'd that.
Yeah. Wow.
She's like, thanks for saying that.
No, yeah, that's crazy.
It is though.
5 years.
Props
Wait,
to you.
is your family,
Oh,
did
no,
they come
6 years.
from entrepreneurship
No.
either?
Wait,
No.
hold on. 2019 to 2024.
2025. Come on, it's 2025.
Yeah, that's valid.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, you're right.
Being
You're right.
sandwiched
Think
here
about the future.
with facts and simple math that I'm being told to believe it's not that simple.
Just
Yeah,
gaslighting.
2019, 2024,
No, Jake,
yeah,
it's
25 years.
2025.
Well, 6.
When this airs, come on. This is the day
It's
before
almost- yeah,
Thanksgiving. It's pretty much the day 2025. The accounting major has to count on her fingers.
Yeah, I'm 5
She's handling our
solid
workshop
years.
books.
She's very
Great.
good with numbers, but she still has to pull out the night. Okay, 2019, 2020.
I actually can't believe I just did
Nate,
that.
pull out the
looking at
feet.
her as she handles our salaries for the workshop.
She has to count 2019.
No, this is very good. Oh,
2020.
yeah.
I
21, 22,
promise you, I
24.
know what I'm doing. No, but 5 solid years in. 2025 will be the start of my 6th year.
Okay.
But wait, I do want to know, did your family
Yeah.
come from entrepreneurship? Like, I am just curious.
No, actually, I'm the only one in my family, but all my friends are. A bunch of my
Okay.
friends are.
Yeah, your whole circle is, I'd
My
say.
whole circle are all just like they started their own businesses. They did really well with that. So I feel like I was just kind of like pulled in that direction.
Yeah.
I was pushed the traditional route by my parents, and
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for it. Like
Yeah.
I don't regret college. I loved it.
Yeah.
I learned computer software engineering, and I still love it. But yeah,
Dang,
all my
I did
friends,
not
I
know
just
that,
kind of like I graduated and I was just pulled back into this.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like like you can be creative and still business. Like that's
Yeah.
that's kind of the draw. And I think
Absolutely.
college can help people realize that like I'm good at something, but I still want to make money.
Yeah.
And this doesn't just have to be a hobby. It can make a lot of money, and
Yeah.
you can make it a business.
Right. And I think it is like a lot too with your family. Like, obviously, like all 3 of our families were very supportive, and I'm very grateful for that. And like, I remember going through the stage of my business where, like, especially when I was first starting, I was very like, I don't like, not territorial, but I was just very like, I had to like prove myself because it's like everyone's gone through this where you've had someone who is just like, oh, like, how's your hobby going? Like, oh, how's that degree coming? Like, oh, what are you going to do after college? You know, like all those little things that it was like every single time I was like, oh, I'm like doing weddings. Like, I just had to like prove to you. I had to prove to you all these things because it's like family, friends. It's like, I just felt that need. And then I
still
realized
have that ego issue.
yeah, I realized. Yeah, I had a huge ego issue with that because I was like, I needed to like prove something. I needed to like show them. And I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a conversation with one of my best friends, Hannah. Her and I were talking, and it was like, it's not coming from like, and I'm sure that there are situations out there where it is maybe not coming from the best place, but it's because our families, our parents, our generations before us, they did not grow up with these as sustainable careers. They just didn't. This was not like,
No.
you were a 1% outlier if you were a wedding photographer in like 1950. Maybe that's a really bad fact, actually. Maybe.
Wait, 50?
Maybe
Where are
we
you
should
pulling this
fact-
information from?
I'm sorry.
When was the first
Sorry.
camera?
Let's get our producers put a fact check on the screen here as she's talking.
When did wedding photography start?
But
I know what you're saying though.
Yeah.
so
Well,
all
our
of a
parents,
sudden,
like, jobs weren't secure back then, so like it was the dream to get a job that would last you
Yeah.
40
Yes.
years. That was the dream, and now the dream is to not do that.
and
I
so
mean,
it was just like
from
a
my circle.
huge, that conversation was such a huge mindset shift for me because I realized instead of coming at it where it's like, no, I have to prove something and like make sure that you know exactly where I am. Like, it's my biggest flex that you don't know where I am
Yeah.
and that I get to live the life that I do. And it's so cool because instead of coming at it of like, I'm going to try to prove something, instead I'm going to like respectfully like educate you. And that sounds really bad, but instead of like, I really came about it where it's like, no, like, they're just not educated on this industry. Like, let's be real.
Right.
Before I was a wedding videographer, I wasn't educated on this industry. Like, would I have even imagined making $40K on a wedding? Absolutely
No.
freaking not. Would I have
100% no.
even imagined making $10,000 on a wedding?
No.
No. And so it's like coming from it with that mindset, like, genuinely helped like my mental health so much. And when I was able to come at it with this like kind, compassionate, like, let me explain things. Like, I even noticed like way more support from like my family and friends. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean though?
Once they're educated and understand the scope of what you do, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, that's a lot
Right.
harder
Because
than...
like they can be supportive, but I'm sure you've also had times where you were like, they were maybe a little worried about
Sure.
you, right?
Sure, yeah.
And it's just because like they don't know. They have no idea what our industry is like.
Yeah, I mean, we still have that ego a little bit.
I was
I
about
mean-
to say it's funny this is being brought up right now about like our families not being educated because tomorrow's Thanksgiving. And do you know how many photographers and videographers are dreading tomorrow because they have to sit at the table and everyone's like, how's your photo business doing? And you're a videographer. So
like-
how's the photography? And it's like,
Yes.
I haven't taken a picture ever.
Well, my in-laws,
knows.
my in-laws' grandparents, I mean, they're sweet. I mean, I don't hold this against them. They're just old people. But every time I go over there, the joke is always they'd ask, like, so how's your picture business?
How's your picture business?
Yeah.
And, like, and they'd always like, ask like Kenzie if she's like, are you okay? Like, do you need money? It's like, come on.
And
Like,
you just got back from
Yeah.
Las Vegas
well,
filming
that's,
with
well,
Tom
that's
Brady.
why I
You're just
think
like,
I remember, Nate, you were saying like a year ago, we did this favor wedding. It was an LDS wedding.
Yeah.
Super low budget.
Oh, yeah,
It was
yeah.
a friend.
yeah.
And some guy came up to you and like asked about it. And I think we had just got back from Italy or something.
Yeah.
And I remember you
text
texted me after, you're like, you know what, Jake? Because we were on the fence, like you were thinking about like, let's just kill the local weddings and kind of monopolize it. And I was like, I want like luxury and destination. And I remember you texted me after that. You said, you know what, Jake, you're right. I want to do luxury. I want to say stick to this guy. And same with me. Like whenever someone's like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I film weddings. Like, oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm like,
for
yeah,
you.
we just got back from Ireland and Italy and going to Greece next year and
Yeah, just got back
Hawaii
from
and California.
Hawaii.
And they're like,
Oh.
what? Like, yeah, charging $10,000 minimum. And just like, what?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I still kind of have the ego on me where I'm like, when people kind of approach me with that kind of that sass, that condescending, and they don't mean it maybe. I love just being able to flex and say,
Yeah.
no, this is actually a career I've built over the last 7 years that has led me to some really cool places.
And at the same time, sometimes it's fun just not saying anything. Oh, it's going totally good. And then they see
Yeah.
a video of you
Yeah.
filming.
Yeah, just
the-
making slideshows for people. It's great. Yeah.
And then they see you posting stuff from like Amangiri, a 7-day experience,
Yeah.
like filming for
Yeah.
the
That's
CEO
cool.
of Tom. Like just
Yeah. It's
All
definitely
these
like,
things.
I mean, I've been there, like, where it's like, oh, like, I just want to, like, flex everything. And, like, of course, like, I'd be lying. Like, it's, like, still can be a struggle, 100%. Like, we as humans, like, obviously want to show off our best sides. And,
Yeah.
like, it's, like, been the biggest thing for me. And I constantly remind myself that I'm like, you know what? The biggest flex is truly what people don't know. That I get to live this life
Right.
and I get to do these things. And, like, these people forget so
Yeah.
quickly. And again, yeah, it's like I even today, like, still go through where people are like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a wedding videographer. And they're like, oh my gosh, do you like take photos? And I'm like, did you not hear my last sentence?
maybe that's why she says videographer.
Probably.
She's really just trying to put the emphasis on
Probably
video.
is.
I'm a
You
videographer.
guys know from our podcast, one of my icks is people who say videographer versus videographer because there's one O. Emma.
Yeah, guys, I'm a
Is at the core.
videographer.
I felt personally attacked.
It
You
was
should be.
it was a bit of a personal.
No, you should. It's completely incorrect how you're saying it. Now, that reminds me to speak about egos. My favorite part, I think we can share this story
Yeah, please do.
of Ireland.
I don't know what you're
Was
saying,
I don't know.
Wait, what do you? Oh, wait, what is it? We can
Emma,
always cut it. We can always cut it.
Emma walked in the back of the bus. So just trying to get to know people.
Oh, yes.
And then one of the
can share
attendees,
it.
one of the attendees just goes, "So what do you do?"
And Emma's hosting the event.
Okay.
It's
So-
freaking Emma's workshop, like in collaboration with us.
Oh my gosh. So that was literally one of the most humbling moments in my life. Like, obviously, everyone who's listening to this podcast already knows, like, we all three of us, like WFW and Runaway Vows, like, we did a workshop together in Ireland. And I am sitting on, or I like go to the back of the bus just to like visit with everyone and like see how everyone's doing. And I go sit down and like one of the attendees, and like, honestly, I hope this attendee is watching. And
I'll send it
that
to
you
them.
reach out to me after this.
She was very hurt by
I'm
this.
hoping that like maybe I just like misunderstood context, but like I very vividly remember, and like I adore this person truly. So like
Yeah.
it was like so hilarious. But we were just sitting on the back of the bus. We were talking about like, I think I had asked two of the other attendees some questions about their business, and this attendee is like, so like, what do you do? And I literally was sitting there like
What did you say? What
I
did you say
never
again?
felt humbled so quickly. Like so rapidly I went from feeling like
what did
great
you
to
say?
just
Yeah,
rock
what did you
bottom.
What did you say?
I giggled, and it was so funny because like 3 attendees heard in front of us, and they were cackling to
Oh, I
themselves,
bet.
and I could see them out of the corner of the eye. But I was like, you know what? This is not a moment where I'm gonna like make you feel bad. I'm like, I need to just like, and I just remember I genuinely was like, oh, like
I work for Jake and Nate.
I was like, oh, I do video. Like I'm a videographer too. Like. And that was all that I said. And in that moment,
So
like,
funny to me.
yeah, that was all that I said. I
So
never
I'm not-
talked about.
I'm not laughing because it's like an ego thing. I'm laughing because I truly don't know how this person got through buying a ticket
Without
and
knowing.
all the information and all the Discord channels and emails that Emma sent and pictures and marketing materials and collaboration posts we did without figuring out who Emma was. That's what's funny to me. Not that like you didn't know Emma. Is that like,
Right.
how did you not learn of Emma over the last 6 months?
And it could have been just, just the yips. We always talk
Maybe.
about the yips. Maybe just,
Foot in your
I'm in the
mouth,
presence of Emma K Films. What do you do?
Maybe. So
Maybe he's
funny.
talking about like extracurricular, like what do you do outside your business life? I don't know. Maybe.
So we should tell this podcast. So Emma,
What do you
who are
do?
you? Yeah.
Yeah, I felt I was humbled so quick.
So we kind of took a left turn, which is fine. I'm cool with detours, but going back to the original question about
Where we started.
Oregon
Yes.
and what led you to LA
Right. Okay. Yes.
and the drastic change that was. I want to hear more
Right.
about that.
So we've obviously talked about the other
Yeah.
3/4 of my life. We can talk about the most recent. Yeah. So I moved to LA a year and a half ago, and basically I just like I can't get over that moment. It's like so hard. I'm like trying to get deep right now.
What
Oh, about
the
the
bus
Ireland
moment?
Yeah.
The
I
bus
just thought it
moment?
was just like such.
Emma
It
has
was
a
such
huge ego.
curveball.
that was such a great moment. Okay. No. But anyways.
Because
So
before you get into that, did you have a desire? Were you a big city girl in a small town always, and you always knew that about yourself?
yeah. So
Okay.
when I grew up in a small town, like I'd always like dreamt of living in the city.
Okay.
But I never actually thought that I would live in LA or California or anywhere else. So I had actually like just gotten out of a 9-year relationship who I had owned a home with. And I needed a fresh start. I like all I had ever known, considering I'm 24, you can do the math. Like it was a huge, it was a while ago, but
Now it's
But-
us pulling out our fingers.
9 minus 14 divide by 2, carry the 1.
carry the one. But because of that, I was like, I need a life change.
Yeah.
Again, I never even thought I would live out of state ever. So it wasn't until like that exact moment where like my life was literally falling apart. And like, obviously you just see a highlight reel on social media. You're just seeing like the best of the best moments. But like this transition like wasn't a perfect transition. Like there was so much of it that was coming from like a darker time of my life. And so I had gotten out of this relationship and I was like, I need to do something. I need a fresh start. But I had no idea where to go. I had been working like more frequently in California the past 2 years. Again, never thinking I would ever like work there permanently. I just knew 2 years before, like, hey, this is the market that I want to be in. I'm going to just work more towards here. And I would rather fly to California every weekend than fly like across the world every time. And so that was why it sparked LA, was definitely career. I was like, okay, like what about Los Angeles? I had no connections other than work connections, except for one person. And this one person was Megan. And Megan is like, genuinely like, she is like my living angel, honestly. She is like a person in my life who like completely changed my life for the better. And like,
A very genuine person.
yeah, an incredible person. And she's one of my best friends. All that to say, so Megan filmed BTS for me at a workshop and that I had done the previous year in Los Angeles. So she was like my only like somewhat personal connection. And even then, like Megan and I didn't know each other super, super well yet because we were both working. And so I sent her a text and I said, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Los Angeles. I didn't like divulge into like all my personal stuff, but I was like, I'm thinking about moving to Los Angeles on my own. Do you know of any safe places to live? And because, LA is so big and there's a lot of different
Huge.
areas, a lot of different pieces of Los Angeles
Right.
that like you obviously want to be careful where you live and like where you put yourself in terms of like where the airport is, like
Yeah.
what type of city you're in. And she called me and was like, hey, I have a room available in 4 weeks. I have a roommate that's moving out. Do you want to move in with me and this other girl? And I am someone who is so bad at, like, I'm not good with change. I'm not good with change at all. Like, I like being comfortable. I like being safe. I like just like knowing exactly where I'm going to be, what I'm supposed to be doing. And so all of this was like really horrifying. But I was like, honestly, Emma, like you need a change of scenery. This is where like you want to move your career. Like if there is any time in your life to change, like it's right now. And if you don't do it right now, like I had no idea where my life would have been. And so I flew down to LA the next week. I saw the apartment. I got to know her a little bit more and I just literally said yes. And 3 weeks after that, I moved to Los Angeles.
So crazy.
Like I literally packed up everything that I had known and moved to this huge city. Again, like I lived in Corvallis, which is a much bigger city than like where I grew up. But like I was like this small town country girl who moved to the city And truly, while there was so much transition, there was lots of phases. It was definitely like waves of emotion. Like I had never felt so at peace with where I was in life. The people that I have met, the relationship that I'm currently in now, like I've never felt so much peace with the decisions that I had made moving to Los Angeles, and that has like driven me to like continue pushing forward, even on days that are really tough or really hard, living like away from family and away from literally everything that I had ever known for 23 years.
Well, would you say, so from the outside looking in, Jake and I knew you when you were in Oregon, and you were doing some pretty incredible weddings while you were in that small town. Or I guess you weren't in Elkton at that moment, but you were still in Oregon, smaller than LA. And you were doing these really luxury looking weddings. And we were inspired by that. We were, as Jake has said, like we try to emulate Emma K Films because like you just do such great work. And I know that the move to LA was an emotional one, but knowing you, it was also a business one because you wanted to get into the middle of the LA market.
Yeah.
And we know people who crush it living in Fargo. Like we know people who live in like small cities that still do really well. But I just want to ask you, like, do you think that being in a certain location like matters? Do you think it actually matters? Did it matter to you?
Yeah, like was it the location, or was it the change, or?
I can say from my own experience that the location 1000% elevated my career.
Okay.
And to actually say like why, it has opened opportunities for me to be in person a lot more.
FaceTime with people.
Los Angeles is the market that I wanted to be in because that's where the luxury market, there is a luxury market there. And there, because of that, are a lot of things. There's so many things going on. LA feels like this hamster wheel which like I thrive in it, but like it feels like this like wheel that you're just like constantly running in. But because of that, there's so many events, there's so many vendors, there's so many people there's so many things going on that me physically living there has given me the ability to be in person a lot more at things to where I'm able to network with a lot more people that have then led me to so many more bookings and so many more opportunities and so much more experience. Now, I do absolutely think that you can build a really successful business in the luxury market and still live in a small town. It does come down to like how much are you willing to travel? Because I was living in Oregon doing it. Like I was traveling across the globe for weddings, but I realized, okay, let's look at reality here. There are totally outliers in my Oregon market. There are totally like luxury weddings that happen, but is there a market where these clients are willing to pay me 15 to 20K per wedding all year long? And the answer is no. And that's just like market analysis, right? Yeah. And so I was willing to travel, but I knew like if I could be closer where I could travel less and do more, like that's where I want to be. And so I absolutely think that it completely elevated my business. And I do think that 100% it does benefit you, especially for those people that aren't willing to travel, because you do have to be really realistic about where you live and what types of clients are around you and just like what your reality looks like. If you're someone who wants to do 15 weddings a year and you would like to be booking $15,000, like be realistic. Where are those weddings? And for me, they weren't in Oregon for me.
Right.
They're in bigger cities.
Yeah.
I think the FaceTime thing is underplayed as well. Nate and I have spent this last year just really making a very intentional effort to get in front of people more often, and it makes a difference. Just it builds an authentic, and I like how you said it too. Like, is it necessary? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But can it be such a big motivator for you and get you in with more people and more consistently? Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely helped in so many ways. Like.
And what would you say the fruits have been of that over the last 60 months, 18 months?
Oh my gosh. Even just like, the last like since moving to LA, I mean, it's just opened up so many doors of me being at like more in-person events. Like I've joined a lot of in-person events where I can like be there and face-to-face meet people, which has then led me to like, oh, hey, like I have a birthday party I'd like you to come film. Oh, hey, like I have a wedding here for you. Like, oh, it's like so great to meet you. Just like connection wise, like I've met so many people that I'm like still building relationships with, that I'm like working with over the last like year and a half. I've been like it's been a like climbing this crazy mountain of just like where my career has gone in the last year. But like I credit so much of it to the people that I've met and what I've invested in to get myself in front of people while having a brand that was like really ready to be seen by those people.
We speaking of that, we Nate said this the other day. Found, I think it was Mindy Weiss who posted a 4-year-old's birthday party event she was doing, and then you did that birthday party.
Yeah,
and then Nate
75-year-olds.
And Nate just goes, "Man, you know you've made it when you're filming birthday parties." And I was like, honestly, that's true though.
I can't believe the money that people put into birthday parties.
Like it's true.
It blows my mind.
Well, we talk about this all the time. Like we're not really like people. If you narrow yourself into a wedding videography niche, you're losing out on a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
We are professional event videographers.
Right.
Yeah.
And a birthday party is literally the same as a wedding day without a ceremony.
Yeah.
It's an event. There's caterers. There's guests. There's speeches. There's moments that you have to capture. Like it's the same exact thing.
And yeah, people are hearing that and they're like, Jake, what are you talking about?
Nah.
There's speeches at birthday parties.
You'll hear me.
There are speeches at birthday parties.
Yeah,
Kidding me? There's
literally,
toasts. Yeah.
I literally just posted a trailer on my Instagram of a birthday that I just filmed, and there were speeches in it. They are all in Russian,
Yeah.
but
It's just a different level of birthday parties, of course, but it's still an event. It still stands.
And I think like especially like it obviously like a lot of it too comes down to like what your price point is, what the market is. Like for me in Los Angeles, they're throwing those types of luxury events. They're throwing luxury birthday parties. They're spending, several $100,000 on an engagement party, on things like that. And so like for me to be local and just go do those kind of gigs, like I love it. Like I'm here for it.
Right, and like Harry said, like there are outliers, sure, in every state, but like where's the consistency?
Right.
Where's the mass quantity where you can plug in a lot more easily?
Yeah.
Awesome. No, it's really cool. So you moved there last summer.
Yeah, moved there June of 2023. And so I've been here now for like a year and a half, and I love it.
An LA girly.
An LA girly. It's so crazy too, because like living in California, like so many of my family and friends have been like, oh yeah, like it makes sense. Like you fit there. And I definitely like have felt like it is hard, I will say, like you go to this community, like LA is great and I'm so thankful for the creative community, but at the same time, like, I mean, everyone here is like creating movies and writing scripts and they're artists and they're directors and they're doing all these really big, cool things. And I'm like, I film weddings and they're cool guys, and they're like, oh yeah, like we did weddings like year one.
Yeah, everyone's
like
yep, that's just an average career out here versus like in Oregon, it's like you do what?
Right. And so like it's really crazy. And again, even to that extent, like people in LA, like they don't know like what types of weddings necessarily I work on, but it's just really crazy to like even just see that side of the creative community, because I mean they're out there, like I said, it's a hamster wheel. Like I'm in like a fishbowl.
Yeah, it's funny picturing you in Oregon. Actually,
it is. Now that you've been in LA for a year and a half, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's funny picturing you in a small environment. Going to dignitary dinners with the mayor. It's just
sitting on the river,
just
with a little fishing pole,
fishing on the river,
you doesn't it?
playing volleyball. It's just like
but I love the outdoors.
I know, but that's funny. It's such an interesting mix. Yeah.
Well, I think what you were saying about like what you were trying to say about LA is like when you tell people LA is a very creative city, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you tell them, oh, I film weddings, they just kind of give you that passive, oh yeah, I've shot weddings before.
1,000%.
Because shooting weddings is kind of like, we call it the gateway drug. It's like the easiest thing to film. Like you pick up a camera, you know someone getting weddings.
Until you start doing it right.
And you can, yeah. And so like when you tell, like we've told people, yeah, we film weddings. Like, oh yeah, I remember doing those. That's why I do. That's why I do commercial now.
Yes.
But
Story
you're
of my
like,
life.
no, I film weddings.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's been like
capital W.
All the letters.
But even then, that's been like the most humbling moment for me too, because like young me used to be like, no, like these are the weddings that I do. No, I've gotten to travel to these places and these are who I've shot. Whereas now, like I genuinely, like I just kind of like, I'm like, hey, hopefully maybe you stumble on my Instagram tonight and you see that like I actually film cool weddings.
Film weddings.
But like it is like, again, like it's fun for me almost to just not say anything, but it's like, yeah, that's like the story of my life in LA. Like I have so many amazing friends and like such a supportive group, but like the random people, that they're like, oh yeah, like everyone started in weddings, now it's like, yeah, I'm working with Steven Spielberg. Is he still alive?
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
Steven's kicking it.
Spielberg?
Yeah,
he's
love that guy.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, I think hearing your story too, like you are someone, and also working with you. We worked with you in Ireland. We're working with you a lot next year. You're definitely someone with a lot of integrity. Thanks. And you're someone who like really says, you know what, like I gotta be true to myself and true to my goals. Even going back to switching careers from pharmaceutical to accounting, it was solely because if I, even though many people would love this career path, I'm just not being true to what I want to do in life and with my beliefs and with the person I am. So I'm
Yeah.
going to switch. And it's like, anybody would be like, well, you're crazy. Just adapt to that.
Yeah.
Right. It's what you've been prepping for. And then same with moving to LA. You said, no, like, yeah, I could stay here, but like, let's look at my life in 5 years and 10 years and
Yeah.
say, no, this, as hard as this is to go somewhere I don't know and to leave what I've always known, which is horrific and scary for everyone.
It was honestly like this. It was truly the scariest thing I'd ever done. And I think again, it's like a lot of people, they just see the highlight reel, right?
Yeah.
They just see like, oh my gosh, you moved to LA and you look so happy and like everything's great. And like, don't get me wrong, like I was very happy. But a lot of people don't see like, you know, the scared human behind that. That's like,
Right.
I'm literally giving up everything I have ever known to take this big risk and hopefully my life works out, you know, and it was worth it.
So,
Leap of faith.
in a humor
Yeah.
moment,
Yeah, please.
what are your least favorite things about LA? I would love to know.
Okay, so I do hate the traffic, and I think that everybody knows that. Like
LA
everyone,
traffic,
classic.
breed, different
who-
breed.
See that meme?
Who-
It was like if you asked me to take a bullet for you or pick you up from the LA airport, I'd take the bullet. Did you see
Dude,
that meme?
LAX is the worst.
It is. It's
Hate
terrible.
LAX.
It's terrible.
Is that where you're flying into tonight?
Yeah.
Godspeed.
I did park at the airport,
luck.
so it is
Okay,
nice.
nice.
And honestly, at
Better.
like midnight, it's gonna be a quick
Cool.
breeze.
Should be.
Hopefully. So traffic's the worst. I will say I feel very fortunate to own my own business and be an entrepreneur because I am very selective about the times I leave. And so I do feel
That's
like
true.
I've got like a good grasp on it because it's like I know like when to go run my errands. You
Yeah.
schedule your life around traffic. Like honestly, you really do. And so I feel like because of that, because I'm not working a 9 to 5, because I'm not every single day sitting in rush
Rush
hour
hour?
traffic.
Rough hour.
The rough hour. 5 o'clock rough hour.
Rough.
It is.
Rough.
It makes life better.
Yeah.
Traffic is the worst. What else? Like what's terrible about LA?
Do you eat gluten?
I do eat gluten.
Has it been hard to find good gluten places?
No,
out
no. Oh my
Okay.
gosh, no. There's so many good places.
My complaint about LA is I feel like everything's gluten free and like
You're just
almond
going.
milk.
You're just going to a
Show
different
me
side
around.
of,
I
of
need
LA.
to see that side.
You are
'cause I walk in,
100%.
I'm like,
Well,
this isn't real meat.
I mean, to be completely fair here, Jacob,
Oh,
maybe that was a dumb question for me to ask her because do you remember Emma flew out here? What was that, last year when we started filming at the Capitol? A year and a
she's
half
a
ago?
McDonald's girl.
Emma, where do you like to go eat? Like, we're trying to get to know Emma. Like, the first time, like, this is the first time we've really, like, hung out with Emma. We're just, like, filming at the Capitol, and we're just like, Emma, so, like, where do you like to eat? What's your
favorite restaurant?
culinary preference? What's your favorite restaurant? I don't know, like, McDonald's?
True story.
Jake and I were just
forgot.
like, hang on.
And we
Put the car in
the car.
park.
I'm like, well, I guess in Oregon you don't have McDonald's
McDonald's?
close by, so it's
Yes.
like a treat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like literally, the closest grocery store in the town that I grew up in was a 25-minute drive.
No DoorDash. That's for
No
sure.
DoorDash.
In my town, there was a
wouldn't survive.
gas station, a burger restaurant, a little pizza parlor, and
pizza?
a taco stand. Great pizza. Great pizza.
I would
Was
love to
there
try the small
anything
town pizza
to
place.
compare it to?
And an
though?
antique market.
It's the only pizza in town.
I hope you enjoyed the account.
All right, so we
counts.
can list everything in Elkton on 5.
That's crazy.
But no, you gotta see like different sides. There's
I would
so
love
many
to.
different
Well, I'm
sides
a big
of LA.
foodie, so I'm sure there's
Yeah,
some
LA
great places.
definitely has great
Oh
food.
my gosh,
Yeah.
amazing food.
We had a good brunch there one time. Or was that San Diego? Or San Francisco?
San Francisco.
That's right.
Definitely not close to LA.
Nope. Same state, though.
Same state,
Somewhere in
same state, different vibe.
Somewhere on the coast, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere on the west.
The Bay
Coast.
Area?
The Bay Area.
Is
yeah.
LA the Bay Area?
No.
Oh, is that San Francisco?
LA is Southern
That's
California.
definitely San
Right.
Fran. San
San-
Fran's the Bay Area.
LA is by Disney. Big
Yes,
Disney.
yes.
I'm a big
There
Disney
you
guy.
go.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. LA's by
counts.
You a
Disney.
Disney girl?
I do. I really like Disney. I
Been
wouldn't consider
recently?
myself like a fanatic, but I totally love
To
Disney.
be clear, I'm not a fanatic.
You're
either.
talking to a fanatic.
No.
Jake
No.
is a Disney
Not
I
fanatic.
need to be
No.
very intentional about
Ask
what I
him
say
to
here.
quote any Disney movie. Just give
Well,
it
that's
a test.
different. Okay, being a Disney movie fan versus being a Disney
Brother Bear.
theme park. I actually don't know that one as well as I'd like to. Great movie
As he
though.
would like to. He still knows a
But I,
good
can,
chunk.
but I can quote for you right now, line for line, the entire Incredibles movie. I can. Anyway, I was about to go off just now. No, I do like Disneyland and Disney World. I grew up in Atlanta where we went to Disney World every year.
Yeah, so I've never
loved it.
gone, and I actually really want to go to Disney World. I've been to Disneyland. but-
Disneyland's cool. Definitely
Disney
nostalgia.
World's
but Disney World's like mind blowing.
Yeah, I
In
would love
fact,
to go.
I went to Disneyland for the first time a few years ago, and I was really
Really?
let down because the castle is like a 2-story building, and in Disney
The one in
World,
Florida.
no, in Disneyland.
Okay, a 2-story
gotcha,
building is
gotcha.
a little bit dramatic.
Well, when you compare it to the skyscraper in Orlando,
Right.
it's crazy.
Right. Yeah, I won't be like
It was like maybe 3 stories, you guys.
maybe.
The Disneyland
She
castle
probably knows the
is
full square footage of everything.
Minute.
tiny. No, I do love California
I
from
do
a
too.
distance. Carlsbad's a favorite place.
Carlsbad's
Carlsbad's
really
really pretty.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in between like Los Angeles and San Diego. I'd really love San Diego. Like, yeah, I
I've never
honestly
been to
like
San Diego.
it is.
gorgeous.
I think you know what I think is really misunderstood about Los Angeles is like yes, it's so populated, it's in the city, but you also can drive 2 hours out of LA and be like completely in nature.
It feels like it's a different country. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can obviously go be in the desert, Joshua Tree area. You can also drive to like Big Bear, which I think is a few more hours, but it's like you can like go ski
there's
and
a lot of
snowboard,
variety.
like, and it's got you can drive up Malibu and like be in the middle of like the mountains up there and be like immersed in nothing. And so it's like I think people like they just think city, and they,
Yeah.
100% it's a city. Yeah. Like
There's
I
a lot
literally
out
live in
there,
the middle
yeah.
of millions of people, but there's a lot more out there too.
It's awesome.
So last week, we posted a question in our Facebook group. And we were basically just talking about like what skills have you learned this past year that you're trying to carry into they've been really
Ooh.
successful for you and help grow your business. And one of those was just networking. Like networking is king. That was the common theme. And then Kyle Smith from 87 and Smith, he said something really thought out to just build upon that. He's like, yeah, networking is great, but it's one thing to just show up to a networking event, which is a lot of people feel like that. Like, I'm a videographer. I showed up to that networking event. Like, I'm waiting for the fruits of my labor to come in. But there's a difference between just showing up and then showing up and actually going to talk to people and taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
So where I was going with that is you moved to LA, emotional decision, but also a business decision.
Yeah.
And part of that business decision was to put yourself in that market. But it also would have been useless if you just moved there and you didn't do anything to capitalize
Right.
on that. So what are some things that you did once you moved to LA to really help yourself bust into that LA luxury market?
Yeah. I mean, I think like honestly, like I was just continuing the goals that I had set for myself before I even moved to LA. I've always been a very goal driven person, right? So like I knew very quickly that, oh, once I film my first wedding, I want to make this a career. Oh, once I, film my first high-end wedding, like I want to be in the luxury market. So I had these goals set in place of where I wanted to go. And so I was just continuing doing the things that I was doing. So when I physically moved to LA, it was like, hey, I'm going to find communities here. Communities like Curate California was a great one. Society Prev, or Preve, LOL.
I know you're talking about. I think
Okay, maybe.
Privé, I don't know.
Yeah,
Probably
it's-
whatever. It's probably the opposite of whatever you say.
It's an amazing community. I don't know why I am like blanking on how to say it. But joining them, like just honestly like getting in the room with people and making myself known. And I will never forget, I went to Kindred Collective, which was an incredible event that I went to last April in Santa Barbara. And one thing that really stood out to me, I'm totally on a tangent right now, but there's good in this.
Keep going. Yeah.
I was standing in the room, and I guess like to tie everything back in,
Yeah.
when I would go to events, sometimes I could be very like blend in, like just blend in, just do your thing, like meet some people. I go to Kindred, and I'm talking to the owner of Easton Events, Lynn Easton, and she basically, in a nutshell, this is not a word for word, but basically was like, don't wear all black. Don't
She
wear
said
all
that
black.
to you.
Yes, said that directly to me. And because I'd gone up to her and introduced myself and was like, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes. Like, if it's now or never. It's now or never. When am I going to get to be in a room with this person? Yeah. And I had asked her for advice. I said, like, what would your advice be for a young go-getter who this is the market that I want to be in? And I'm like pushing myself. And she was just point blank straight up with me. Like, don't blend in at places like these.
That's such
Don't-
interesting advice. I
That
love
is-
it. I love it.
I've
Yeah.
never
It's so
heard that.
unique.
Because for
Yeah.
me, instantly, of course, my brain is like, ouch. But then I was like, no, you're
You
so
were-
right.
You
were
were
you
wearing
wearing
all
all black?
Right, because I was wearing all black. At this event, I showed up in all
The
black.
ball's on Lynn to say that.
Yeah,
What you're
but
wearing doesn't cut it.
I-
Don't
She
do
looks
that.
you up and down. Don't wear this. You're like, I love you.
But I love that advice
such good
because
advice.
it stuck with me in
That's
so many
great
different
advice.
avenues of networking, because just for her to be like, don't blend in at places like these. You need to set yourself apart and stand out.
Yes.
Was like, I definitely always wanted to be the, no, you blend in and you like be
A team player,
fly on the wall.
fit in the team.
Right?
Right.
To where it really shaped me of like, no, like I need to stand out. I need to get myself in the room, but also stand out in front of these people. And so like moving forward, I mean, it was like when I would go to any event in person, it's like, I'm not wearing designer clothes like at all, point blank, but like I'm going to wear color. I'm going to like match the mood board. I want to wear something that feels unique because I want my presence to be known and I want to stand out. And I'm going to go make these relationships because if I don't, then what's the point? You know? And so even just like moving to Los Angeles and being able to get in the room with these people, it's like, if I don't make the most of it in every single avenue that I can, from what I wear, how I speak, what my social media looks like on that day that I'm going to these events, what's the point of me going? Right?
That was, spot on.
I don't even know if that really answered your question,
that
to be
was
honest.
beautiful.
Post it, tag Easton Events, collaborate with them. We'll get this clip scene.
No, that's awesome
joking,
because we were just talking about this earlier today. I think there's like this stigma. We all want to make it in the luxury market. I'm assuming those listening all want to make it into like the luxury market. When we kind of got our first taste of that as well, we were very stiff. Wear all black suit, don't smile, don't do anything to like bring attention to yourself, don't do any of that. And I think the more you kind of like get into it, you realize that like these luxury high-end clients, they still smile, they laugh, they're human beings.
Yeah.
And you just kind of loosen up eventually. And part of that is how you dress too. And we've started realizing that lately too.
A lot more intentional
Just
about our wardrobe.
blend in.
Right.
Yeah. I will say, people listening, I want you to understand the principle of what Emma's talking about too. I want you to think that like all black is bad. The principle is to stand out and to be recognized and I think what Emma glazed over too with moving to LA is that I want to really hit on. We've said this before. Larev told us this many times. Like, it's not really just who you know; it's more so who knows you. So yeah, cool, you know Easton Events, or yeah, cool, you know this planner in your area. But do they know you? And Nate and I this year, with our intentionality of going to these events, there are a few planners that we know, and then we've met them a few times. But it wasn't until this last weekend where one of them made a comment, and we're like, oh, he knows us. Like, he knows about us. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
so, and also with the all black thing, as a principal, Nate and I have kind of shied away from that unless it's requested.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's obviously team play. But even when it's requested, Nate and I look good in all black. We have very
everyone looks good
specific
in all-
style pieces that's like, yes, we're all black, but we're still going to stand out a little bit, whether it's our shoes or a tie bar or the suit coat we're wearing or the shirt with cufflinks. Like, we're going to make it still stand out, so we're not just blending in with a bunch of vendors.
Yeah. And I think too, like, I definitely don't want to bag on all black at all, because 100% there are absolutely events to this day that I wear all black to.
Yeah.
Same.
Absolutely. Like,
Sometimes
there's
it's required.
Yeah, there's networking events that I go to where the mood board is like black and white. It's just thinking about like, how am I going to stand out?
Right,
You know,
that's the principle.
and it doesn't have to be like designer wear. It doesn't have to be. Like, I will remember people based on like what they wore. I totally will. And so like what you wear does make a difference in even just in terms of like color palette and uniqueness. And I think that can help you, because I've stood by the same thing. Like, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. And I've like preached that forever. And I feel like it's something that I completely live by, because if no one knows me, I'm never going to book any work.
Yeah. We had a story, it was like a year ago on our podcast, where they hired someone off of Facebook to second shoot for them at this big wedding. And he looked great on Facebook, and the guy showed up in like untucked shirt, polo, and baggy trousers. Remember that story?
Crazy. Yeah, I remember that.
And it was and I think Nikes. Like, it was so embarrassing. And you don't want people's memory of you. 'Cause the flip side's also true, right? You know, dress nice, but if you dress poorly, you can't get that impression back. So crucial.
Yeah. So crucial. Truly.
Doesn't come naturally though. Nate and I are on our wardrobe journey at these events.
Seriously though,
It's such an interesting.
It is
world
tough.
to fit
Yeah,
into.
it's hard. There's a place, Rent the Runway, that I know where that's a really great place. I've rented from them before. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming. Yeah. I think it's for
Rent
anybody.
the runway.
Rent the Runway. Yeah. I've rented from them, and they also do like have some designer stuff too that you can like rent for events. So that's been great. I've done that before.
It's actually a really cool idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And honestly, like what I've done is like every single wedding, like I will buy one new piece until I have a full color palette, and then I just wear the same color palette over and over and
That's
over
kind of
again.
like what we've started doing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we need a new just color coat. So we
Right.
go and buy just a new coat.
I don't
And then,
need 4 green dresses. Like, I'm
No.
just gonna wear the same one.
Yeah.
To everything. So
Smart.
I think that's so valuable.
One new piece per wedding. That's your advice.
Just build it into the budget.
Go into crazy debt to improve your wardrobe because it's really not about who you are, it's about how you look. And that's the message that we want to leave with you today from Emma K, not from us.
There is like kind of some truth to that. Though.
No, there
people
is.
notice. People
Hey,
notice how you dress.
There's always truth.
There is
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
notice how you dress. We've had compliments before. It's like, hey, those guys are the best dressed in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1000%.
and that sticks with
It's the
people.
nicest compliment.
It really
does.
is. Like
Yeah.
going to these networking events, people think you need to be handing out business cards and asking like, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? But like just
Yeah.
being there and showing FaceTime and also what
Yeah.
you're dressed in is actually huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly.
Leaves an impression.
And being being intentional.
Our 2 best friends disagree with this completely, actually.
They
They
do.
think that they can wear clogs and Birkenstocks and white Vans and Nikes to luxury events because they don't think it matters. Your words to them.
I will say, you
And
know
you can
what?
be harsh.
No. Here's
No,
what,
they need to hear this.
I will say at an event that I went to in the past, there was a wedding photographer who is also one of the best wedding photographers in the country for sure. And this person showed up in like the Birkenstock clogs at this like luxury event. And I remember just being like,
Did it work
or
or no?
I honestly, I
I
was
mean,
like,
style
who,
is a very
I was like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Like initially. And that's just like my
Yeah.
own perspective. I was like, who is this person? Who shows up in clogs? Then of course, when I go to their Instagram, I'm like, oh, wow.
it's a fashion
okay.
piece.
Yeah.
They can wear whatever they
But
want.
I do think
So
that
for
like
2 guys who aren't the country's best, who
The
are just
world's
kind of,
best.
you know, average, pretty good local videographers, maybe not there yet.
That's true. Struggling to get
Well,
bookings
remember
kind of guy.
we saw this Instagram post of this one of the most
It
luxury.
wasn't it Jose?
Well, I don't want to if it's one of his team members, I don't want to say anything, but it was this luxury wedding, huge, and I zoomed in at one of the vendors, and they were wearing like a sweatsuit with like a fanny pack, a shoulder bag, and like Nikes. And I was like,
Yeah.
after Nate and I were like dropping money on suits, I'm like, maybe it doesn't
No,
matter.
it was definitely a videographer. I remember the post
Yeah, it
you were
was
talking
a
about.
videographer.
And so we're just like, it would be a videographer. Dang it. For
Yeah.
some reason, videographers have a harder time
Yeah.
understanding the dress
Yeah.
code. I
Yes.
feel like.
I always say dress for the job that you want,
Yeah.
right? If you
No,
want to
it's a
be in
classic,
luxury,
yeah.
then start dressing for that now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And again, like people always misunderstand. They're like, I don't have money to buy designer clothes to wear to a wedding.
Doesn't
yeah,
need to be
me
designed.
either.
Doesn't have to be.
like,
Doesn't have to
doesn't
be.
have
Well,
to
we
be.
were talking. We always talk about the planner you brought with you. I don't know if I won't say the name just in case, but to one of your workshops, and she was talking about how like she went and bought a purse solely to be a conversation piece when she met with these luxury clients.
Yeah.
Not that she cared or believed in that like type of brand and image, but
Mm-hmm.
she's like, but I knew that they did, and it was important for them to see that I understood that if I'm going to be in charge of like managing their event, that I'm on the same level with them, and
Yeah.
I understand brands and names and style and things like that. So it's like 2 things can be true at once. Like, yes, you don't have to really necessarily buy into that world,
Mm-hmm.
but it is important, especially in this market, to be like, you know what? No, your image does play a huge part in the clientele you book, which is why you've gone through like 12 rebrands in the last year.
I've gone through so many rebrands. Like I've gone through 4 rebrands in the last 5 years. And I've definitely wasted money, but I wouldn't go back and do any of it different because
But you know
I
what has
learned.
stayed in all 12 of those is the white blazer. It has triumphed through all the
It is
rebrands
true.
It
because
has.
it
white
shows
blazer.
business.
It has
got that
come
power
through
statement.
every single rebrand. Well, actually, no, because when I first started, I was in elopement, so I was wearing like my jeans and my Birkenstocks
yeah.
and my sweaters.
Classic.
Yeah, I
We did
loved
the
it.
same.
And now here we are.
There's this
just-
picture I love of Nate. It's at one of our black tie
Oh,
weddings
gosh.
back in 2018,
gosh.
and Nate's wearing jeans and a white t-shirt.
I
fair-
have to see this.
To be
Okay, I'll
fair,
find it.
we did not know what we were doing back then.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I was wearing a collared shirt.
Jake, I can pull up
I know.
Sydney
I
and
know.
Nick.
Okay, no, I
Well,
want
was,
to
it was
see.
always collared.
No,
Well, that
Sydney
wasn't
and Nick
the
was
one.
not.
That
I
was,
know, I know what you're
that
talking
that
about.
was a button up.
No, I know what
That
you-
was a full neck button up.
Yeah, no, yeah, this is true. The one
was-
you're talking about, I was wearing just a white T-shirt
And I
jeans.
was wearing khakis in a
This
short
was like
sleeve polo
year
button-up.
one, pretty
It
much.
was.
It
No,
was
it's
just like,
hilarious.
dang,
Aw.
dang.
I'm not
And I'm
knocking
hiding
you
in
for.
the
I'm
bushes.
not knocking you for. I just think it's hilarious.
100% year one, I was definitely wearing jeans and Birks.
I hate
and
the new Apple photo app.
Oh, I do too.
Me
It
It's the
is
worst.
so bad.
Two. They've got to change it.
How
They
do I
have
find
to
Dude,
change
Nate?
it back.
It's impossible. The new photo app is
People
yeah.
in-
Just trying to find the favorites folder.
It's literally so
Killing me.
obnoxious.
I just opened my phone to Lisa Frank. Lisa with an S.
It is with an S?
Yeah, Lisa.
Darn it.
Lisa Frank.
Wow. Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
I will find this picture really quick. Oh, here's a funny. I'll show this to the audience. Here's a funny one.
Is it me?
Oh.
What is it?
This is a good one.
Oh man.
I mean, that was
dude.
our elopement era,
The
though,
red
too.
and
You know?
I love it.
The red and blue.
blue
Gosh,
probably one of your-
dang. Dude, I was a poor college kid. I was just like, I'm
No,
just gonna
like,
grab
it's
whatever
nice,
is
it's
nice
nice
out of my
fit.
closet. Like, oh yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, sure. Looks good.
It was a small loan. There was like 4 of us there.
No, I love that.
I was hoping
yeah.
it would show up in like your face recognition, but I don't think it is.
No.
So
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
goodness.
mine was.
Thank goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough
really
one.
digging the
Rough era.
archives.
it's okay. But we can talk. I want to do. I want to move on to.
Should we talk about-
in conclude? Oh,
No, I was about to say the story. Were you about
Yeah.
to say the story?
guys, we thought it'd be fun to end this podcast with Emma participating in our Written by You series. Now,
Well, we got to do a written by you and the pass.
Written by You and then
Yeah.
Nathan's pass. Don't I pull up the Written by You?
Yeah, both written by
So
you.
we're gonna have Emma read it and
Okay.
react to it, and then we'll kind of give our educational thoughts on how we would handle that situation. The pro is that we read all the horrible ones already.
Yeah.
So you're.
So this is not
getting
getting
the
me
softball.
No,
canceled.
this one is just.
I
lofting it up
wish so
to-
badly
Okay.
it was one of those like groom cheating
Dude,
on the.
I wish it was
groom.
or a
Yeah.
cocaine one. That'd be hilarious.
So which one did we have ironed out for? Do you remember?
Unfortunately,
there's
it's
only
not
one in
drugs
there.
or cheating.
The videographer
So.
suck one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of a longer one.
Okay, Emma. So
Okay.
I'll hand you my phone.
Fair word of warning. Sometimes the punctuation in these.
So good luck.
Okay. Okay.
So
All
you might have
right.
to just like piece together the sentence sometimes. Be like, okay, I think that's what
Yeah.
they're trying to say.
Okay.
And then we'll just kind of give our thoughts. We'll let you read the whole story,
Okay.
and then we'll dive in. So this is written by a videographer,
Okay.
and they titled it "Videographers Suck." So
Oh.
here's
Okay.
the story. Take it away.
Wait, I go all the way up to the top.
Wait, nope. So wait down.
Oh, sorry. Okay, wait. This one?
I'll start out by saying, yeah, that one.
Okay. Okay.
She's like scanning
We scanned it.
the
You're good.
most brutal, just F word right in the middle.
I'll start out by saying my city is on the smaller side of a major area. Okay, I relate to this.
Mhm.
Small city.
Mhm.
I get it. Within it, the vendor community is quite small and close knit.
Okay.
In the city, there might be 5 professional videographers who offer a higher level of quality than your standard tripod video person. There is more than enough clients to go around based on each other referring each other when already booked. Okay, love that. Sounds good so far.
Good, yeah.
Now comes the
Context.
tea. Okay. This season, an old videographer who used to live here moved back to the city. Let me say this vendor was not the preferred person to work with when they did live here. To kickstart their business again locally, they took to the plan of reaching out privately to couples, brides offering their services. Cool. The issue is that they started offering discount ways to break contracts with other videographers, discrediting other videographers based on their
Oh my
offerings, just a complete smear campaign. One of my brides was victim of their marketing. They offered her a discount at the same price of my deposit to break my contract, plus an added discount if she would book them instead. My bride obviously didn't, and instead let me know of their actions. Unfortunately,
Wow.
a few of my vendor friends weren't so lucky and lost multiple clients to their business. My question to you is, how would you feel or deal with such a vendor?
Dang, it's a good one. It's
Dang.
kind of like an educationally based one.
Yeah. You got lucky
So
there.
to summarize,
Yeah.
Let me at him. Tell me where. No, I'm just
Emma
kidding.
unhinged.
yo, I would be so scared of Emma, to be
Dude,
honest.
if I got a DM from Emma and like the first sentence is like, hey, I need to talk to you, I'd be like,
Dude,
oh, God.
if Emma like was hostile,
Dude,
it'd be over.
I would be.
Okay,
my
so to
heels.
summarize, old videographer left, came back into town, and was undercutting all the 5 other videographers, and even smearing them to brides and saying that he would do it for you.
reaching out to already booked brides and saying, hey, by the way, if you go with me, I'll give you a discount.
Ugh.
and I'll basically
Makes me
cover.
sick.
Yeah, I'll take the deposit away. So yeah, how do you? I think the principle here is how do you handle unhealthy competition,
Yeah. Okay.
especially for small town.
I feel like this answer is definitely not the one that you want to hear. But if I was in the exact same situation, I truly wouldn't say anything to that videographer. I would continue business doing my thing. I know that probably is like, no, what the heck? Like, what is that going to do for me? It doesn't. At the end of the day, like, there's you getting involved is just going to like add more drama, add more fuel to the fire. Odds are this person, if everything that you're saying is true, is okay with being sneaky. and you confronting them isn't going to change their opinion. What they're doing is sneaky. And so I would just stay on your path, stay doing what you're doing, stay working with your clientele. Like, I know it's really hard, especially I grew up in a small town. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I completely can relate to you. But the biggest thing that you can do is be the bigger person and just truly stay in your lane. Karma will find them at some point. It sucks that it sucks that other videographers in your industry have lost bookings because of it. And it sucks that like maybe that could be you in a few months. Like that's the worst. And I know that feeling is like, there's nothing I can say that's like just going to cheer you up from that. But again, like I really believe that like it will eventually come to them. And honestly, there's like, stay in your lane. I think like I've been even in situations over the last like 5 years that haven't been pretty. And like the biggest thing that I look back on and I'm like, I'm glad that I just like kept doing what I was doing and didn't let a single person get in my way of doing that. And so it's probably advice that you didn't want to hear from that. But at the end of the day, it's your business. Truly, like you want to look out for your friends too, but you also have to really just think about yourself and just like keep moving forward, keep pushing your business in the direction that you want it to go. And yeah, karma will find them. It might not be next month, it might not be next year, but that sucks that they're doing that for sure.
Yeah, I echo that too. I think I do believe that if your brand's vision is to smear others and be slimy and you have no organic way of booking, that it's not gonna pay off. And I think being the bigger person shows so much. Like saying, you can listen to him, but I think my quality, my reviews speak for itself.
1000%. And your clients will know that. Like your clients will not be swayed because of some other videographer. Like they won't.
Yeah, and also some clients don't always. I mean, if his whole thing, I'm assuming this is a guy. If his whole thing is
why are you assuming that?
Because that's like, I don't know why.
Yeah, Jake. Why are you assuming that?
That sounds like a
no, it does sound like a slimy
guy.
Dude. Yeah, it sounds like a slimy
like a middle-aged dude.
I just wanted to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, it
Emma's the man hater here. She used to do exclusively woman workshops. I'm kidding. No, but I'm assuming this guy, like, not all clients just want the cheapest option.
Yeah.
Right.
Like sometimes you like if that's your whole thing is that you can do it for cheaper. Like, yeah, it might work a few times, but like that's not the client I want. If the client who's booking me just wants the cheapest option, you shouldn't be finding me anyway.
Right.
I'd rather you appreciate me as a human being and my quality and my services.
Yeah.
And this is kind of an industry where like people talk, you know?
Yes.
And so if this guy is coming in and he's doing, again, assuming this is some dude, some middle-aged dude. I can picture this guy.
Dude, tucked in shirt, it's a polo. His camera logo is a shutter.
Yep.
And he still shoots on the Glycam.
Kind of got a bit of a gut.
Maybe.
Too. Yeah. But yeah, people talk. And so that's going to circulate. And going back to Emma's point, like that will catch up.
Body shamed, by the way. That was not good.
But I will say, like, yeah, moving forward, you know, this is something that happens in kind of, I would assume, more budget markets. It's a small town. I would assume it's more budget. And something that we hear often is that it's a race to the bottom. People are just trying to like price match and price bid and undercut and do these games. The best way forward is just, you know, number one, do good work. Number two is be a pleasure to work with.
Yeah.
If you do those things, then, I mean, that spreads. If this is like a bride that you have and they know from their friend whose wedding you also did, hey, you want this person, don't go with anyone else. Like they're going to book you even if you are coming in $1,000 or $2,000 more, they want that.
Right.
So just put your head down and keep going. It sucks for your friends if that happened to them.
Start a smear campaign against him, you know, kind of find out where he lives, take some eggs and...
Social media is free. Yeah. You can start just
try to catch him when he's
stuff.
like taking the trash out, like in his bathrobe, and like take a picture of him and put it on Facebook.
I do not promote any of this.
Hire those friends that lost those bookings. Those would probably be good people. They got some hate. They got some rage.
Start a club. Bring some baseball bats. You know, it's cool because how Emma got her start really was, you know, being the governor or the mayor's daughter. He just shut down businesses. A lot. She'd say, hey, she's like, Daddy, these businesses are competing with me. And he'd be like, don't worry, sweetheart.
He stepped in, he intervened.
You know that scene in Willy Wonka? Daddy, I want another pony. That was Emma. Veronica Salt is Emma.
For all 270 people in the town.
Yeah.
And so she's like, Dad,
me on my little farmland.
Yeah, Daddy.
With mom and pop.
Someone started a video business. He's like, I'll arrest them, sweetie. And he did. So if you don't have like dignitaries in your family, you're out of luck.
I feel like you have given the governor, the mayor, and the sheriff like the
They're
same.
all they're all the same rules.
You know, I'll be completely honest. No, I know what mayors do.
What in a small town?
I keep on saying governor because I think it's funnier.
No, I
Governor
think it's
Burke.
so funny.
Governor,
Governor Burke sounds like an absolute dictator. Mayor Burke sounds like a nice guy.
Mayor B.
No,
Mayor
but really, truly, like.
Would you ever
just-
get into politics? You would never carry on the family business.
Nope.
Would you run for office?
Nope.
I think you'd kill it.
Thank you.
You have that energy.
I
You
really
have
wouldn't
CEO
actually.
energy, yeah.
I honestly wouldn't. Like, debate is a whole other level. I did mock trial in college and
Yeah,
undergrad.
I took a debate class in middle school.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
It's very like it's one thing to argue, it's another to debate, and another to just be like reamed in
And when
front of
someone
everyone.
throws a fact at you, you can't dispute it. You have to move on instantly.
Yeah, that's humiliating.
Oh yeah. Well, luckily we have to look too far to see people in our own government who do that really well. Anyway, the pass.
So, all right, Emma, we're gonna move on to the pass.
Okay,
Are you ready?
I'm
So
ready.
explain the pass.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
explain
what
the
the
pass.
pass
It's
is?
a term,
So
a kitchen term.
yeah, so a kitchen turn is like, in the kitchen, they make the dish and it has to go to the pass, which
Okay.
is like where it goes through its final inspection
Yes.
before it's given off to
Yep.
the actual, customer's order.
I
That's
just-
the pass inspection. Just one point where we zoom in on a topic and we talk about it.
I love that.
Because
Bradley Cooper movie, right?
Burnt,
Burnt.
great movie.
I'm impressed.
I'm
Thank
also
you.
very impressed.
Okay.
Great
Anyways,
movie.
Fantastic.
Wait, what's your
movie.
favorite movie ever?
My favorite movie ever.
Ever?
Give me top-
Benchwarmers.
No way.
Yeah.
Your favorite movie is
Is that your favorite
Benchwarmers?
movie ever?
It's
No,
up
it's
there.
a good movie, but I just wouldn't expect you
Oh
to
yeah,
have
that's
the
my
favorite.
I could quote every line of that movie.
I'm so surprised.
I am shocked that
I'm speechless.
Benchwarmers is your favorite movie.
yeah, I love that movie.
I would never look at you as a
I would
benchwarmers.
never
I love it. I
Keep-
I
give
could
me-
quote every. I
keep
could
it
quote
under
every
a
line.
billion. It's all I've got.
I'm having
me.
macaroni for dinner. That means garlic bread. Yes.
I never
He's
thought
like,
Emma would
I'm
be a
not picking. I'm
Benchwarmers.
scratching. What are you scratching your brain? Yeah, because it's huge. When he gets like hit out in the outfield, and he gets hit with the baseball bat. And
Yeah.
he's like, dude. He's like, you just lost your membership at Video Spot.
Dang it.
Yeah. Dang
Wow,
it.
I mean, you surprised
Wow.
us today.
Might want to put an outfielder in those mountains in case of bang. Great movie. Love that movie.
Phenomenal movie.
It's good.
Whenever I watched that movie growing
It's
up,
good.
I wanted that. What's the little butler robot's names? Is it Alfred? I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Is it Alfred? Yes.
Maybe
pretty
I'm mixing
sure.
up Batman with Benchwarmers here. But I always wanted the you know how he makes the sandwich?
Yes.
And he cuts off the crust and he
Yep.
puts the Skittles in the bread? Like, I wanted that. That was like up there with the Spy Kids scene when they put the microwave and it comes out like full McDonald's meal. That was up there.
In that same scene, the uncle goes, "You think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?" And everyone's
then
like, "This is a children's movie."
you get older and you're just like, oh
You
my
think
gosh.
God stays in heaven?
We're putting
You're just like,
theology
dang,
in the Spy Kids.
great movies.
It's
Wow.
such a good
Okay,
movie.
Benchwarmers.
Benchwarmers. Do you have a number two?
Yeah, give me your
movie?
2 and 3.
Number 2, I mean, Step Brothers is just like
Oh
a phenomenal movie. I love.
We want to build bunk beds.
Are those power drills I hear up there?
Don't touch my
Hey, what
drum
are you
set.
doing?
Yeah, I
Oh,
love
we're just hanging
Benchwarmers.
Comedies then.
And Elf. Elf is just a classic.
Elf is a classic.
Love
is a
that
classic.
movie. Could
Elf's
watch it a
the
billion
best.
times.
Elf's the best movie
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
I would
Wow.
not have ever put Benchwarmers and Step Brothers being your top movies.
Yeah, I'm a big comedy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Love
Wow.
it. Love it.
Wow.
Man, I want to dive into
Where's-
that, but we are moving on to the past.
Yeah.
We'll have to have Emma back.
So
You guys
anyway-
just talk movies.
We'll have Emma back. Just talk movies.
Man, I could talk movies all
I could
day.
talk about Benchwarmers.
I know you could.
Alone. Okay. So yeah, we are to the past. This is the,
Okay.
the part of the episode where we really just dive into one specific topic,
Okay.
wedding related, to try to clear the air. you
Okay.
know?
Now, fair warning, Nate always tries to get me canceled in this portion of the
Yeah.
podcast.
If there's any point that you would get canceled, it would be during the pass.
Okay.
Nate
But this
tries
is a relatively
Great ending.
This is a relatively pretty safe. It's pretty safe.
Okay.
Okay.
One time Nate asked me about the border crisis.
So Jake, if you were the governor or mayor or one of those.
Southern Texas. How would you
Southern-
handle the
Oh
border
my
crisis?
gosh.
Yeah,
Okay,
I just
okay,
throw out
okay.
just a complete So what is your dad doing as governor to improve Elkton's?
Yeah, so I have this message from a person of
Socioeconomic
Elkton
status.
here, and he's not very happy with how things are running. And he
I
says the
don't
mayor.
I don't think I've ever talked about my hometown so much since I was in
We're
high
so curious
school.
about
Dude,
it.
we're gonna follow just the statistics of
Hold
people
on.
Googling Elkton.
Wait, hold
Oregon.
on, Emma.
Jake's been to
The
Elkton.
cliff we shot in Oregon
That was not
was Elkhead Trail.
Not even close.
Oh.
3.5
Starts with
hours.
elk.
Figured.
Starts with elk.
Figured.
Yeah, 3.5,
Close,
4 hours
close.
away.
Close. Okay, so we're at the pass.
Okay.
Okay.
This better be
right.
a good one. It was
Okay.
really
No, I
building
think
up
this
to
is,
it.
This is a short and sweet one,
Okay,
but
okay.
I think it deserves a good conversation.
Okay.
Okay. So Emma, in your mind, how much is a second shooter actually worth?
Are you joking
No.
me?
No.
Okay. Like what do you mean how much are they worth?
Hourly. Let's boil it down to an hour because we have some second shooters. You see it all the time in Facebook threads. Like, oh my gosh, I would never second shoot for less than
If it helps
$1,000
you
a
out,
day.
I submit they are vastly and grossly overpaid.
If that helps you.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, we see people all the time saying, oh, 10-hour day, I would never shoot for less than 1,000. Ew. Don't even insult me with that. So in your mind, how much is a second shooter actually worth? We're talking about wedding videographers, so second shooters.
Honestly, I actually stand by what I pay, and I would say like anywhere between 75 to 150. 150 being like the
Yeah.
best filmmakers, like true luxury filmmakers that I've had come second shoot with me. I stand by that, and I stand by it because, and maybe this is like such a lame answer, but like I stand by it because like everyone that I hire is like truly worth every penny. Like they make my day an absolute breeze. I would say like I'm usually like typically paying like 85 to 125. That's
Okay,
like
that's fair.
usually that's
Yeah,
like where
right.
my like where I typically pay. I do feel like 150 is a bit steep to
Yeah.
second shoot. But I also at the same time know that like you're giving up an entire day. So I mean maybe I like should be more of a
But-
hater,
but
but
here's-
I'm
Dive into that
not.
for a
Yeah,
second.
but here's the thing. You're giving up an entire day, but it's $150 an hour.
Right.
Yeah, and here's I want to dive into that because I think for some reason we think that this like because we're entrepreneurs, it's not like a job,
Yeah.
but you can say like, yeah, my rate to walk into work is $20 an hour. Oh, but I'm giving up my day, $50 an hour. It's like, well, you're working for that hour,
Yeah.
right? So I agree. I like that take. I think 150 on the high end.
Yeah.
I think, and also like at that end, you're also doing a lot more than you would be doing at the lower end. You're overshooting way more.
Right.
You're handling a lot more
Yeah.
problem solving in real time. You're expected to do more, be more personable. But you think anything lower than 75?
Well,
I mean,
think,
it's obviously a spectrum for markets, right?
well, I think if you're investing in the wrong people, then you're always going to think that they're overpaid. Honestly, at the
good
end of the
take.
day, like if you're investing in people
Dang.
that,
Put that on a shirt.
but truly, like if you're investing in team members that aren't doing a good job for you, that you feel like aren't representing your business and are making it more work for you, then yeah, you're always going to think it's overpaid. I feel at a point where what I'm investing, even at the $75 range, I'm investing in good quality shooters.
Yeah.
Right? Granted, my $125 an hour shooter is going to do a better than 75, but it depends on what I need. It depends on the job. It depends on where I'm filming. Right? But it's like, we have to be understanding that they're giving up a whole day. I'm not going to go second shoot for someone for $75 an hour. That's like what? That's like for a 10-hour day, $750. Which, okay, now it sounds like really
does sound, yeah.
now it sounds really blown out of proportion. That's a lot
Wow.
of money to make in a day. So
This is where the canceling
let me,
starts.
let me
So you
take
don't think that's a lot of money?
Let me no. Yeah, we're not making a reel out of this one. No, but
that's
I
okay.
just
Tanner,
like
post it, clip it,
Tanner,
tag her, collaborate.
bam, bam.
You
I
know,
just
you know the
think
drill.
that
Jake, the wait paid off.
Her market's ours.
We got it.
We got it. Easton, coming for you.
no, I just think that like it's a whole day of your time. It really is.
It
And
is.
so I think if you're investing in the right people, then your price tag feels worth it. And so like I do think like spending 150, spending 125, spending 75, like I think all of it's valuable because the people that I bring on do such a great job that they're worth that and more to
Yeah.
me.
Well, the second shooters you bring on are doing a lot because the weddings that you film require a lot
Yeah.
of bodies,
Yeah.
right? But I would say a vast majority is just like they're a glorified assistant
Yeah.
almost. Like
Yeah.
they're helping set up tripods and light stands, and they're making sure the camera
Mm-hmm.
angles are looking good. But as the lead shooter, you're capturing
Yeah.
the A roll and like most of the film, and then
Right.
there's just as a little bit of a supplement.
Which maybe it's also like one of those things, thinking out loud here, where it's like everyone's business is run differently.
Yeah.
Right.
So some people might bring on a second shooter to be that assistant, and you should be paid as such. And some people might bring on a second shooter to say, I need you to overshoot and overkill, and my film needs
True.
you.
Yeah.
And without that added perspective, I cannot make my product. A whole different mandate there too,
Yeah.
and should be paid accordingly.
I still think for that like role, I still think 150 is pretty.
Oh, it's on
pretty
the high
fair.
end. Yeah, I think that's great.
You're walking
Yeah.
away from a 10-hour day
That's
with
great.
$1,000
That's a
plus
ton.
dollars.
Which
That's
see
definitely on
though,
the high end.
which see
Yeah.
like I'm thinking like, okay, like if I'm gonna pay you, like for my second shooters, I want any second shooter I work with, I need to fully trust you to be capable to get footage that I will not get on the wedding day. That's where I'm at, right? Like when we're just talking second shooters here, we're not talking assistants. Like second shooters, like I need to know that you can show up on the wedding day. Because when these timelines are crunched and they're slammed and there's a billion places we need to be at one time, I need to know that you're going to be able to go get this, and I can fully trust every single one of the shots that you get. So for that, I'm willing to pay money for,
Yeah.
because that's A-cam footage that I'm not getting because I have to be over
Right.
here doing this.
Absolutely.
And because of that, I take on so much less stress than probably like a lot of the videographer population out there right now. And
Yeah.
I've been there where I invest in second shooters that I feel like I have to train, that I feel like are just like not where I need them to be. And it's nothing on them. Like I've worked with so many great people, but it's like, I need to know that like you're very flexible. You can adapt. You can, you're going to give up your whole day for me. Like we might even be there an extra hour, and I need to know that you're there and you're not on your phone. And like, there's all these things that justifies that price point, because at the end of the day, like it's also time. It's also time.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday that you're giving up.
It
Like
is.
think about like what you're willing to give up. And I just think, yeah, if
But
you're
you also chose this career path,
It's
which
true.
requires you to work on weekends.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I totally agree in that.
But I see what you're saying. I completely, yeah.
100%.
And I think in your market, especially where you're at in your career and where we are too, is like, and something that actually, for those who don't know, like Nate and I's first relationship was you as my second shooter. And what attracted me the most to Nate versus some of the other dweebs I was hiring and pulling my hair out over was what Emma just said. I learned really quickly, like back in 2018, that I wasn't just paying you to bring your camera and shoot next to me. I was paying you to be independent of me. And not everyone wants that in a second shooter, but I learned I did.
Right.
Yeah.
I learned that I wanted somebody who could be their own person. And the most important skill that you can't teach, you can't train, you either have it or you don't, in my opinion, is the ability to problem solve in real time on your feet without having to come to me or the planner and say, what do I do?
Agreed.
You adapt, you fix the problem, you be professional about it without having to make a scene. And that was Nate. And that's why Nate and I blend so well, because we're both that way.
Yeah.
And so then like when we have other people on our team, that's like the requisite number one is like, can you show up? And if we're gone and you can't reach us and something happens and you have to adapt, can you do it?
Yeah.
And I will pay you more if you can do that skill than maybe what you should be being paid as a third or second shooter, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's so many things to be true at once. I think people are team players. Like I've been at weddings where it's like, hey, here's the budget. Here's what I can set aside for a second shooter. Yes or no, can you do it?
Yeah.
Even if you're worth more or less, here's what I have allocated for that role. Yes or no?
Yeah.
It's
And
also negotiating.
usually I feel like that's what I have.
Yeah, more times than not, I feel like that's what's normal. It's
Right.
like, hey,
It's like, hey, this is what I have to work with. Can you do it?
yeah.
You know, like, can you work with me? Because I really want you. But
And we all
also,
know
like,
how- we all, yeah.
And I feel like even like the three of us have learned that in the gigs that we've
Yeah.
worked together, like for you guys at Fountain Blue and
Yeah.
for me at weddings and stuff, it's like I know that like wherever for all three of us, like either one of our gigs, like wherever we are, we know we have it handled. And like that peace of mind is worth every penny. Now, obviously, yeah, if you're feeling like I'm overpaying, I'm not enjoying it, like who I'm working with, then like we got to look at who you're working with and got to find you better.
Well, I think that's why. Sorry.
Sorry.
What did you say?
What?
Caught me really off guard. What did you
Caught me
say?
off guard.
Is that an accent?
It was a little bit. I just said
No, I
we
like it. No,
we
it's
got to
fine.
find you
No.
better.
Keep us on our toes.
Better.
No,
Sorry.
no, I think that is
Yeah.
why you get in the business with integral people.
Yeah.
Because I know that when Emma says, "Hey, here's the budget. Can you do it? Yes or no?" I know she's not saying I'm keeping everything for myself and I'm only going to pay you. I've seen her books. Like,
Yeah.
like we've done workshop. Like I know that she's saying this is what I have budgeted because of the production I'm doing.
Yeah.
And versus people, you're like, hey, here's all I have. I'm like, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
no, I
sure
agree.
you're talking.
Right.
About
You have a lot more. Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
great pass.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I'll check that off. But Emma, I'm assuming that most of our listeners already know who you are. They already know Emma K Films.
Some may not though. Some
maybe.
may ask.
Which is why, like,
Kind of a no name in the industry.
but for those who maybe don't know, where can people find you? What do you have going on? Do you have anything coming up that
Yeah.
you want people to know about?
Yeah. My Instagram is EmmaK_films, or you can visit my workshop account, which is at the Wedding Filmmaker Workshop. I do have a workshop coming up this April in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. At this moment that we're recording this episode, there are 3 tickets left. I'm not sure if there will be any when it airs. I
Guys,
mean, honestly,
run, don't walk.
I
If
hope
there's
not.
any available.
But yeah, would absolutely love to have you at a workshop. It's going to be incredible. And yeah, would just like always reach out to me. I am genuinely an open book and I'm happy to further discuss anything that we talked about on the podcast today. So you can always reach out to me. And thank you both so much for having me on.
Of course.
There's the Emma voice. the Emma voice.
Also, she loves if you DM her and ask her gear questions, technical things. She would love to kind of be your go-to, your point person for that. She's always available.
And apparently, to break the ice, just shoot a Benchwarmers quote and then follow it with something.
Yes. Send me a movie quote. Send me a GIF. I love GIFs. I do.
She
like
does
like
actually.
GIF.
Gifts or gifts?
GIFs. GIFs.
Okay. We all say GIF, right?
Yeah, she just says gifts. Send me a gift.
Yeah. Beta play. I'm just kidding.
No, Emma, thank you for being on
Thank
here.
you.
We really enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Yeah. That's a wrap.
If you,
We'll see you guys next week.